Welcome, everyone, to the Next Gen Call Center series, where we interview experts and get their perspectives, best practices, and insights when it comes to implementing AI in your call center. And today I'm joined with the CEO of Tomato AI, Ofer Ronen, as well as our guest, Ping Wu, CEO of Cresta. Previously, he was a senior director of engineering at Google. Ping, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Ofer, to having me.
Yeah, great to have you. Thanks for joining.
Absolutely. So, before we get into more of the AI specific questions, Ping, I would love for you to just kind of tell us about your experience in the call center space. As I understand, you worked at Google, you worked on CC AI, you worked on Vertex AI, and I'm sure a number of other projects pertaining to the space. So we'd love to just get a background.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So my experience with contact center started way before even Google. I mean, 20 years ago, when I first came to United States, I called into businesses, banks, telcos. So the experience, interacting with IVRs, and then long forward, 7 years ago at Google, I didn't really feel like the technology, the experience, the interaction has changed that much, even though the underlying technology has gradually maturing. And then, so that's why 7 years ago, as part of cloud AI department in Google, I started the contact center AI solution platform. So where we built a set of products to help start with the AI transformation contact center that includes virtual agents, called Dialogflow. That is a platform to help people to build all kind of bots, as well as agent assist and then post-call analytics. So that started the journey 7 years ago. That's how I'm really excited about contact center, because it's a very interesting space. There are a lot of labor work, and then it's a type of work that has very high attrition, that people come and go. Average contact center attrition is around 40%. Knowledge very hard to accumulate. And the call volume is seasonal. Sometimes you have a spike in volume, but the supply of agents cannot keep up. So there are so many pain points in the contact center, which I do firmly, as a technologist, believe AI can help address. And then around 3 years ago, I left Google and joined a company called Cresta. Here now I became the CEO early last year. Cresta is continuing that journey to build AI transformation solution for contact center.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing your background. And I think this next question, there's not that many unicorns in the call center AI space, Cresta being an outstanding exception of that. So we'd love to kind of learn a little bit more about, the genesis of the company and why was it founded?
Cool. Yeah, the company was founded 7 years ago out of Stanford AI Lab. The mission in the beginning of company is to really transform knowledge work with AI, and to help employees and workforce to become expert on day one, where AI can provide assistant and empower human knowledge work in real time. And then that's how Questa started. And in the first industry that Questa choose to help with, start with, is the contact center, just for a lot of reasons that I just listed. It's a very high turnover workforce, and there are a lot of repetitive work. And the business have a lot of pains regarding how do you improve the agents, and then coach them and help them, enable them to be successful, and then deliver experience to superior experience to customers. And then Questa, that's the journey 7 years ago out of Stanford Lab.
It's worth mentioning, Ping and I know each other for many years, and we worked at Google together on CCAI, and we're like in the trenches to win some of the large deals we did there. And yeah, it was interesting to like see Google go into call centers, because it wasn't something like people thought of Google doing. We weren't known at the time for it, but it made a ton of sense, because it's a lot of AI that makes these products work well, and Google's known for AI. So it was a good like marriage of industry and technology. Yeah, so it was cool to see then Ping go off and lead this rare unicorn in the space.
7 years ago, there was a lot of excitement about the home assistant, like a speaker. People think that the conversation AI application on consumer side, they get a lot of excitement. While I agree with that, and then we will see more and more potential as large language model getting super powerful, right? And can really become a personal assistant. But at that time, I was more excited about the similar technology, but apply in enterprise where already those conversations are happening and you do not have to have new kind of custom behaviors, right? Consumer behaviors. There's already calling to call centers, but understanding the intents and to take actions that either it's enabling agents in real time or automating the conversation in real time through a virtual agent, or analyzing the sentiment and core reasons and to make the coaching and analytics better. So all these different use cases that can already help those existing conversation better and can really generate value for enterprise. So that's how we kind of start a contact center AI journey, which is, it's on the enterprise side, but applying the conversation AI technology at the time.
Yeah, and I can add that, like, from a Google perspective, it was challenging to find a business model for the consumer solution, but we found pretty quickly that on the enterprise side, you could do sizable deals, and there was a willing buyer, and more of like a business case, the size business case that Google needs to justify a product. So that was yeah, pretty obvious as we got into it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, I had the pleasure of getting to use a lot of the tools that, both of you put out during the day. I remember Chatbase, and then we were actively using Dialogflow to actually implement line of business use cases. So it's been amazing to watch the evolution of a lot of the products both of you pioneered over the last several years here. So, switching gears slightly, so kind of talking a little bit more about this market space that you both respectively play in with your companies, the call center landscape. So Ping, for companies utilizing call centers in 2024, can you share some dominant trends this year, either challenges or opportunities that you're seeing evolve?
Right. So yes, I think that's a great question. We definitely see a lot of excitement about AI and caused by ChatGPT, and people think that enterprise AI transformation, contact center, it seems a very obvious use case, right? And the thing that we have seen over the past 12 months is that the idea of a real-time co-pilot become more and more popular because previously we have to do a lot of market education, and then the co-pilot agent assist seems like a new thing. But with ChatGPT and with the co-pilot that seems pop up in every vertical, now people really bought into the idea that, oh yeah, call center agents definitely make sense. Have a co-pilot that help them, in real time, not only just train them, coach them in real time, but also getting a lot of things done quietly, like taking notes, automatic generate responses, finding questions, and then extract questions and finding responses in knowledge base. All these things can be automated. Those collection of tasks can be automated. So the idea of co-pilot, I think it's getting a wider adoption. I think that I would say this is number one, and number two is that contact center is really a really ideal playground for the conversational AI, and because there's so many different use cases that can create value. So just take another example of quality assurance process, right? Traditional quality assurance, someone need to go through manually all the calls, and then that means the coverage can be very low, only 1 or 2 calls per agent per week, and the feedback cycle can take very long. It's not real-time feedback. And then people finding very good use case of applying AI to reviewing calls where you can evaluate 100% of calls, and then can automate a lot of those scorecard gradings. And then the third thing that we've seen, of course, automation, right? So this is something that people are really excited about. It's not just because want to replace agent, but just a lot of time, I often find that there is a supply shortage of qualified agents, and especially the call volume can be very seasonal, fluctuate a lot during tax season days or medical enrollment or Black Friday. So you just don't have that many equal volume of supply of agents that can be put to help, right? So automation is really continue to be a top trend that businesses are looking for. And it's now, and as the underlying technology getting even more mature, so we see there are a lot of opportunity that can really deliver the promise of a virtual agent. So these are just the three things that I see on top. I'm sure Ofer have seen others.
Yeah, no, yeah, those are the major ones. Like, and I think of like three buckets, and solutions tick either some or all of them. And the buckets are automation, human superpowers, and personalization. Like, because you can use AI to do any of those or all of those, and some solutions like go across the board. Uh, but yeah, I just remember from our time at at CCI that both of us are right now more in the like human superpower kind of game, where AI makes humans better. But wherever you can make automation work, and that's hard. It's a harder bar. Well, it's hard. Um, the cost savings are even greater. But both are valuable. I would say, but yeah, wherever you can do automation, it saves like even more money. But the reality on the ground, when you actually like are implementing these projects, is that more often the human superpower one, human in the loop, also known as human in the loop, are the ones that really can be rolled out across an organization and are ready more for prime time.
Absolutely. So switching to some more AI specific questions here. Obviously, there's a lot of hype in the space right now surrounding AI, as both of you allude to. And we've seen previous hype cycles with kind of conversational AI back in 2016 and, subsequent hype cycles around this. So, Ping, like, what is your perspective on that? Because oftentimes we see sometimes that the hype kind of exceeds the actual tangible results. So what's your perspective provided, the advent of LLMs and kind of this new technology that call centers are now able to leverage?
Right. Thank you. I do think that there's a lot of hype around that customer support agents gonna all lose their job overnight. So
Mhm.
I do think that's there will be, don't get me wrong, I do believe that over time there will be more and more interactions will be automated end to end. I firmly believe that, but that trend, will continue. It's a gradual increase. There will be up and downs depending on the technology and then the use case and then the business changes. But I do think that this replacement will probably take way longer than a lot of people think. There are many different reasons. One of them is actually, just from consumer behaviors. Still, 75% of our interactions from a consumer to business still on the phone, right? And then when you pick up the phone, 65% of the agents on the other side are using on-premise software. So those systems are very hard to integrate with, and some of them are legacy on-premise, tech stack. That just take much longer to integrate, right, to roll out. So that's number one. And number two is that agents not only just talk and listen, they also do a lot of things. And then
Mhm.
on average, our customer agents probably interact with 10 different systems to get their job done. That means that they have to touch 10 different systems in single call, but that across all the calls, and during their day, a typical day, they have to, collectively interact with 7 different or to 10 different systems to get the job done. So a lot of those systems are legacy systems. The way you change or read or write to those systems only way is through graphic user interfaces.
Mhm.
So those do not have any APIs or modern APIs or especially real-time APIs that a virtual agent can integrate with, right? So that just means that you need to meet with the customer where they are. If you want to automate, then you have to automate a lot of things that, currently not just talking or listening, right? So that's number two. And then And then number three, I do think that different industries or different companies, depending on their tech stack and depending on the complexity of their product offerings, the percentage of those custom inquiries calls can be automated is very different. It can be, from our previous experience, the working with some of the largest telcos, for some type of calls, you can reach probably 60 to 70% of containment. For some type of other calls like bill bill explanation or credit inquiries, a report, why my credit card score declined. So those type of calls, require a lot of nuances. That would just take maybe 20%. It's automatable, and the other ones actually just require human intervention. The one last point is I think there are a lot of excitement, and people tend to overestimate technology impact in the short term, but underestimate in the long term. But I think in the short term, generative AI, especially the large language model, although they can pass AP biology, they have a lot of very amazing, incredible reasoning capabilities. But with call center, particular use case, a lot of time there's only one answer. You need to very factual, precise answer. So that's not something that Gen AI does very well. So Gen AI by nature, it's probabilistic. It's for the use case that are creative in nature. So they see like sensible world of many different worlds that they can generate a version of it that is sensible but may not be factual. So they're really great for use case where you generate marketing copy or art, right? And then you can have a lot of acceptable answers, but for your promotion code for refund, I mean, there's only one, right? So those are the cases that, I think will probably take longer for Gen AI to get there. But yeah, so sorry, I mean, these are just a lot of the thoughts that are related to from my perspective.
Yeah, yeah, that all resonates from our work at Google. And I remember some of the things that you don't think would be an issue, like their latency on their APIs. Like at one big telco, the latency was just not acceptable for a back and forth conversation. So definitely not for like automation, but maybe good enough for assist, possibly. But yeah, these are kind of things you don't think about front, like latency, and then changing it because these are like you said, legacy systems that have been around for decades, and it takes like a massive effort to even restructure them and rebuild them, and that ends up sometimes being the bottleneck for launching these solutions, and it has nothing to do even with the AI. Right, Ping, do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the challenges of deploying AI successfully in complex environment like enterprise call center comes from not AI challenges. Those are
Mhm.
just hardcore engineering and sometimes just change of management, the collaboration across multiple organization in two different enterprises. I mean, that just a lot of take longer than people think. I mean, that's my gut feeling.
Yeah, politics in the company, and sometimes there's the entrenched solution, and there's the people that want that, and you have to do a lot of convincing to get to the endpoint. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I appreciate both your viewpoints, definitely sobering perspectives. So I think it's actually a great segue to our next question here. So for enterprises that are actually, trying to strategically position themselves around these AI tailwinds, what pragmatic approach should they be taking right now?
Yeah, maybe I can start with that. So I think there's a hierarchy of need. And then, if you can draw all these use case on the two-dimensional, two dimensions, one is technical risk, and then the other one is the ROI. I think I will just draw all these use cases there, starting from basic ones like real-time transcription, high quality real-time transcription that customized for a business, get that right. And on top of that, provide call summarization. That's great use case for Gen AI. And then even better is like if you customize call summarization that what Cresta does, is that we can extract very detailed entities and out of your thing that out of your conversation that can be ignored by large generic out-of-box models, right? And then on top of that, get your knowledge base together and make it leverage RAG, retrieval augmented generation technology that also Cresta provides is like, the knowledge search and knowledge assist on top. So make sure that your agent can find the knowledge, right? And then on top of that, like auto typing, auto compose, so that, you have potentially hundreds of agents typing similar stuff with the same context. Make sure that, you can automate those things. And then even on top of it, there are real-time coaching use case, which I think depending on the use case, and that can be a little more challenging to implement because now you have the real-time audio integration, also the agent desktop integration that just take longer, right? And then the other things like automatic quality assurance, that's another thing. I just feel like there are a lot of scorecard you definitely should be able to automate, and then automate generate insights and why people call in and why is certain calls taking longer than the others. So those are just the things that I will start with, in that order first. And then once you have deeper understanding about the human interactions, then you can decide how do I automate a lot of these things, because the same technology to apply to analyzing the calls can really just show you what are the key reasons, a hierarchical taxonomy is reason why people call in, all the kind of 50 different ways to express same intent. Then you can turn that into virtual agent, and then to take a very data-driven approach to make sure your virtual agent can contain certain number of easy, a few short term, kind of a single turn kind of conversations or few turn conversations. That's how I will approach this. So make sure that attack the low tech, highly technological mature problems with high ROI, and then gradually moving to more and more more challenging technical implementations.
Yeah, I like that you mixed in there things that also help during the call, not just after the call. So autocomplete, the summaries obviously can help someone pick up a conversation from where it left off the last time. Because I remember when we were doing ROI calculations, it's often easier to convince with the real-time use cases versus post-call use cases. Both are valuable, but I think in terms of like the ROI math, yeah, I really love like the during the call kind of benefits like that.
Yeah, that was a fantastic maturity model for anyone listening. Great roadmap, as many of these companies, BPOs and enterprise companies alike, are thinking really intently about how they should leverage these things in a pragmatic way. So another question that's perhaps connected to this last question here, how are up and coming sort of cutting edge AI solutions like, changing an agent's accent currently being perceived by enterprise companies?
Yeah, I think that's probably a better question for Ofer because
Yeah.
he's in
Yeah.
he's in the arena implementing all these things, and he's talking to a customer every day about this.
Yeah. Well, what I like about this field of uh, accent AI, but also voice AI, is that it's during the call, and you can immediately measure, for example, close rates on sales calls. If I make your voice deeper or more matching the accent expected by the listener, you can pretty quickly see the benefit there. So it's not an easy technology to build, and we've come a long way in building it and making it real time and natural. But yeah, it's an up and coming area, I believe, of call center AI that will become table stakes over time. But we're just in the first inning of that one. Unlike Agent Assist, which has been around for years and is becoming more mature, and I love what Ping is doing with Cresta and making it more of a co-pilot kind of solution. So it's helping end to end with the agent kind of needs. So yeah, my sense is that the work Cresta does and Tomato AI do, what we do is they're complementary, both help ROI and additive. Um, because you could help with answers and you could help with how someone sounds on the phone, and both are valuable, is how I look at it.
Yeah, my understanding is also that Offer's team also provide noise cancellation,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's right.
but that's hugely valuable, especially
Yeah,
in a lot of calls that come in. That's from noisy background, maybe dog bark or child cry or in subways, right? And that can really reduce average handling time just because now agent can hear better, right? And then
yeah.
on the other side, if you enhance the agent voice, so that potentially removes some of the biases, and then so emphasizing the key terms so that the customer can hear them better, right? And then can have better communication. I think that's just all augmenting the agent's performance, and not only that's related to Questa, but that's just augmenting their ability. That's just as Offer said, it's a superhuman augmentation AI approach.
Yeah, and by the way, like this, we haven't talked about this yet publicly, but yeah, we just did side by side of our noise cancellation versus other popular solutions, and it's a more powerful solution. We'll come out with some study on that. But yeah, we took the approach of the Gen AI approach. We generate your voice without the noises versus traditional ways that just remove noises, and that works really well. But enough of
Absolutely.
me. Yeah, let's start. Let's have Ping is one of the most experienced contact center AI folks I know. Yeah, so really interesting to chat with you here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot of really great AI solutions, right? And you've also both mentioned, look, we're using these AI solutions to augment agents, right? So what is your approach, Ping, to actually driving change management and adoption with agents who, at the end of the day are using these things on a day-to-day basis and have to evolve and adapt to figure out how to leverage these things when they speak with customers?
Right. So in terms of change in management, we work very closely with supervisors and QA team, right? And then, often when customer adopt Questa, they brought the entire compliance QA and supervisors. They find Questa super useful. When people talk about Questa, they first think about the co-pilot on agent side, but we provide the entire product suite on the management side as well, so that they bring 100% visibility, 100% on AI behavior, the grading, all these things, so that they can have a single pane of glass. So we also proactively create personalized coaching plans for each agent. So now you can bring your coaching workflows also on Questa, so that getting your coaching session get a lot more efficient. So our goal is to really enable everyone in the contact centers to drive those change management. And also because AI is naturally embedded in the workflow, so we get to see what agent adhere or do not adhere certain behavior that they're trained on. Especially for the ones that are compliance related, that can be really important and critical, right? So we can show those to to supervisors, so that can just prove the value and then have them to drive the behavior changes at scale.
So having worked a bit on agent assist at Google, I have some questions because I know of certain challenges. I would love to hear how your team has been thinking about it. One of the challenges I remember is real estate on the page. Like there's competing kind of groups that want to have their stuff showing up on the agent desktop. And do you plug into their existing desktop, or you have a different desktop for your solution? Like, how did your team think about that?
Yeah, so for digital channels, agent, their text box, right? They interact, at least they can see what the customer is saying, so they type it back, right? So for those, we have a client deployment where we coexist with their existing interface, and then our power is infusing AI into their existing interface.
I
So
see.
once they're getting implemented, autocompletes automatically show up in their text box. When they type, they see, wow, oh, it's autocomplete. I can
I like that. I think that's an easier sell to like, don't
right.
throw
So
out what you have. Let's make it smarter. Yeah, I like that.
And so auto compose, knowledge assist show up, and there are notes getting taken. There are just some copilot that just you get employed that get your work done automatically. And then the real-time hints and guidance, which you can config in our manager-facing product suites with a no-code platform called Opera, can also show up. So
Mm,
agent would just feel, oh, wow, it's magical,
I
right?
see.
And for voice conversations, we do have an app, but also we have an SDK where you can integrate, your IT team can build that into your existing agent desktop.
Mm,
Uh, where, we start with transcriptions. We find real-time transcription super valuable for agents because a lot of time they cannot hear very clearly what the
mm,
customer is saying, but they haven't used Ofer solution. And then sometimes they're not native speakers, so a lot of time they want the customers to repeat themselves. Now with the transcription, they can see everything. They can go back even if especially super useful for
yeah.
long period conversations. They forgot what's being discussed. So we take notes in real time as well. Summary generating real time, key information get extracted. So that
Mm,
kind of a utility kind of function get agents find you super useful. So they always go back. Then we
oh,
kind of anchor on that so that the real-time coaching knowledges will also show up. If you think about the voice experience like a Google Map on mobile. As you drive, you can always see it. You can see where you are, where you're coming from, the checklist, the key behaviors. It's always there. You don't have to do anything. It will
mm.
just work for you. So has been the philosophy. Yes, but UX is very, very tough problem to crack, especially for enterprise AI. So a lot of time you implement AI, you thought it's useful, but if it's not being adopted, it's really just wasted investment.
Yeah, so follow-up question, just also having been exposed to assist, is sometimes the new agents get more value and there's some risk of um, either, yeah, like not the more advanced agents like ignoring the suggestions or not getting as much value. Um, but actually, what you just shared, I can see how it'd be always useful, even for experienced people, especially like the call kind of transcription in real time. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that, or how do you address that?
Yeah, so the product thinking there offer is that again, it's a hierarchy of needs. There are
Mm,
certain needs that everyone's find useful. I don't want
yeah.
very experienced. I don't want to take notes. If
Mm,
AI can take notes, I would rather have the AI take notes. And
yeah.
then they can write a summary. And then I don't want to ask the question and then I have to type it into a form if the AI can also type me in the form, right? So that kind of utilitarian type of efficiency AI's features, I think is useful for everyone. But the behavior guidance, um, the way we think about it is that yes, we actually did research on this. For the group that newer, definitely feel this is a lot useful because it kind of like Google Maps and you're a new driver, you don't know the road and the situation and show you in real time. It kind of reminds you, right?
Mm,
And then, but our approach is that, it's all configurable in our local platform called Opera. And then
mm,
you can create agent groups that based on their tenure.
okay.
So and then you can enable hints for some guidance, the only for a certain group of agents, not the others. And
Mm,
then we can also allow you to run experiments, all kind of, there are a lot of advanced stuff that we build in, but in short, the answer is that you can turn off
got
serves
it. Okay.
personalized or based on agents experience.
So I have to ask you this one question, and don't feel obligated to answer, but because you're not a public company, or well, here's the question. So a lot of the work you do with Agent Assist could be repurposed for a virtual agent, like you're doing intent detection, entity detection. All these things are like the building blocks also of virtual agents. Do you have any plans to repurpose all this work, and knowledge you have towards virtual agents?
Yeah, so we actually have a virtual agent offering offer on our
Oh,
website. So there are, just as you said,
okay.
customers that
Yeah,
they already work with us. So virtual agent, we currently upsell to our customers.
got it.
And
Oh,
like you said, architecturally, a lot of building blocks that you
yeah,
use to understand two human conversations and suggest actions is probably a superset of what you can build for understand one human conversation and then talk back. And
yeah.
right, so yeah, so but I do think longer term, The more exciting next generation virtual agent opportunity comes from really building a human like agent that can interact with screens. So because the reason that we mentioned earlier is that a lot of those legacy systems do not really have any APIs, and then their whole existence, from the beginning of their existence, is serve humans. Serve human have look like this, right? So who have a visual system that understanding things, and we can type. So I think the best way, or I think probably the feasible path to really towards autonomous contact center, more and more autonomous contact center, is meet customer where they are, not only just the on-premise telephony, but also understand the screen and understand what each box actually mean, and then can, based on the context, and take actions. But that right now feel like a science fiction. But I think there may be opportunity that we can crack it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I want to see that vision come to life. It's very cool.
Cool. Yeah, that was amazing. Just getting to peer into the vision, into the future a little bit, and hear about the vision of Cresta. And seems like AI is like taking over the entire space, which is amazing. So now, kind of switching sides a little bit, what are the biggest challenges that you see enterprises facing as they navigate AI?
Yeah, so I do think that there are a lot of excitement around AI, right? But I think finding the right use case in the enterprise practical, environment, and how do you prove ROI of AI, is something that I think a lot of folks running into challenge right now. Again, we're just 10 months or 12 months into this Gen AI kind of cycle, right? And I do think that there are a few typical use cases that people find high ROI at scale, right? One is media sales outreach type of use case where, AI, again, huge language model, are really strong in generating marketing copies. Again, here, there's no one single answer, but where there are many acceptable answers, right? And another application is the coding copilot, right? So developer productivity, that seems, again, is a huge model, generates something, it's sensible, but humans still in the loop. And then the third thing is knowledge management, that there are a lot of different knowledge from different sources, from Slack, from ticketing system, and from knowledge base internally. How do you aggregate them together? Now use the large language capability or reasoning and synthesis to find answers, provide the answers to knowledge working at the search, right? And number four is call center, right? Call center seems most obvious, but you just have a lot of nuance and challenges that seems not that obvious in the beginning, as we mentioned earlier. But then in call center, that just follow some of the things that we discussed earlier, maybe attacked on the ones that's guarantee win, technology maturity is already there, and then there's very high ROI, clear ROI, and then towards the things that's more business specific.
Yeah, makes sense. So, you started by saying that the original vision for Cresta was more broad, and they picked contact centers as their first market to go after. And it makes a ton of sense because there's conversations in contact centers, and then AI, NLU, and large language models understand language. But are there any plans for Cresta to go beyond call centers anytime soon, or for now, that's the focus?
Yeah, so currently, when people think about contact center, they mostly think about customer support, right?
Hmm.
And but the thing is, Quest is already supporting all type of contact centers. A lot of them are revenue generating in nature. In fact, we're just recognized as a leader in the real-time revenue platform by Forrester. So we have a lot of customer use us for find Quest super useful in B2C sales, retention, collection use case. Each of them can be pretty large market. And there are also B2B communications that interactions that that can also benefit from Cresta technology. But right now we're just really focused on contact center. As we all know, it's employ like, I don't know, 18 or 20 million agents globally. That's around 400 billion OpEx that's spending on them.
Mhm.
So, we're happy to play in here and then continue to build it. But all the AIs that we build around understanding screen and then be able to kind of integrating all kind of different systems and understanding real-time audio and generate human voice interaction, that can also be applicable, I'm sure,
Yeah.
in other knowledge work use cases.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed in being in the space is that there's the conversations are pretty scripted, like SDR conversations, and there's a lot of like value there in training and like applying AI. And then as you go up into like more B2B sales, it's more one-off conversations, not as scripted, where it's maybe going to take more of a robust system, and over time you'll get there to like find where's the value you can add. But that's like the work, like to go up into the highest value conversations where maybe I'm selling a yacht and it's a
Yes.
$20 million conversation if I do it well. But it's a big prize. So yeah. So, but it sounds like you guys are working towards that kind of vision.
Right, so we're currently really focused on contact center. That's enough
Yeah.
contact center that we think that we can provide a lot of value, but over time we will see where we will apply the technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
So our last question here, it's always interesting to kind of get a context of like when you talk to executive stakeholders, what are the top objections or misconceptions that you're hearing from them, as you discuss, implementing some sort of agent assist solution with them?
Yeah, I think there are a few things. One is, again, so this market is still very early, right? There's a lot of information about AI, and AI seems can work here or there, but that a lot of them may not necessarily match what is the ideal state for the business to implement AI and the approach to implement AI. So I think we just need to do a lot of communication with and educating the market about the differentiator. What are the things that agent assist, for example, it's not just one word, right? It's like a separate employee. It have different kind of skills. One agent assist may not equal to another agent assist depending on what kind of use case it is. So really educating the market around the value and the cost. And also the cost is an interesting aspect because traditionally SaaS as software, we all know the marginal cost is almost negligible. But for AI solutions, if you do real AI and to do real-time AI across with a lot of capabilities, that means you have to pay for the compute, right? So those are not free. I mean, that's very different from SaaS products where, Monday.com, the gross margin can be significantly higher than compared to a lot of the AI startups. So we want to educate, our buyers why some of the AI capability is not free. I mean, it's because we're actually paying the cost of GPUs and then having compute. And that also means that if your agent assist doing a lot more things that listen to the conversation, take a lot of actions, like, taking notes, finding
Mm.
knowledge, finding answers, generating, every time agent have a type, we kind of predict what's going to come next and then generate auto responses and finding the right moment to serve and keep track of them, serve coaching hints. All these cost compute, right? So
Mm.
before really energy and compute become really free, and so that will become an interesting challenge and so that's why for different use cases the ROI need to be well thought through
Mm.
because it's not free, come at free.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, obviously also running an AI company internally, there's a ton more costs than traditional tech companies back in the day, is one of the things I've found. Yeah, you have to raise enough money to cover also the cloud costs. So yeah, yeah, there's like the training and then there's the inference kind of costs. And I think you were talking about the inference costs, but also the training could be a sizable bill.
Yeah, and Ofer, I guess you guys can run the models on Asian desktop, right? So the inference can be much cheaper for you. No?
Over time, yeah. Right now we're hosting on the cloud because it can be more capable and powerful on the cloud, but in region, so it's minimal latency.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over time, we do think that the agent desktop will become more and more powerful with AI built in, AI chips built in. If that happens, then a lot of the cost can, a lot of compute can actually shift to the agent desktop on the edge, right? I don't think the compute there is fully utilized, honestly, most of the time.
Yeah.
So that can also change the dynamics and the ROI equation for a lot of businesses.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a super exciting conversation, and it's great. We're ending on this note, kind of peering into the future to see what may come next as it pertains to AI. So, Ping, Ofer, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Chad. Thank you, Ofer.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. Good to see you.